Cougars, Cora Castellani hits a double. Abby Call crushes one deep to left. That ball is gone. Home run, Valley View to Neuro. Haley Carbonetti wins, fire, strike free. That's her weight, strike out of the game. Ava Hazelton dealing today. Another ground out, she's done it, a no-hitter. Holy Cross, Avery Schmidt get 10 strikeout. Win league championship over Mid-Valley. Lakeland's Cameron and near steal second. She saved Abington's Adriana Conrad rounds the bases after a home run. Wow, what a hit! And Kate Reynolds rips one into the gap. She's flying around second, heading for third. Triple for Riverside. Cross the diamonds of North Fifth and Pennsylvania, where River East run deep, where championship dreams are built, and the next generation of softball stars rise. This is where the stories are told. From walk-off wins to dominant pitchers, to the players rewriting the record books. From Division I battles with Valley View, Abington Heights, and North Pocono, to Division II powerhouses like Holy Cross and Mid-Valley, to the Division III contenders fighting every inning. Elk Lake, Blue Ridge, Montrose, and beyond. This is the show that brings the energy, the highlights, and the woods of the game. Hosted by Jarek Yurkanin. Quick ball. Powered by Agafredo Perita LLC. This is Napa Chronicles.
Wow, what an intro that is, for sure. Jeff, we're here with Carbondale's Jeff Kelsch here today. Jeff, how you doing?
Doing great, thanks. Thanks for having us on.
So we are recording this on Mother's Day, May 10th, 2026. And Jeff, any plans for Mother's Day today?
Absolutely. Have to go see Mom and my mother-in-law. Spend some time with family, and then we had a little thing for my wife last night. So we did that. We did hers last night since we're traveling today.
So again, May 10th, 2026. So we are in the middle of softball season, getting closer to the end. Brian Christiana here with Jeff from Carbondale High School, the Carbondale Chargerettes, again, right now with a record of 10-4. And Jeff, 10-4, that's a pretty good start to the season. How are you feeling with that record right now?
Feeling pretty good. The girls are really, really in their groove, kind of coming together. Looking forward to our next few games to really round out the season and hopefully do well in playoffs.
The Chargerettes, again, coming in with a record of 10-4 as of today, May 10th, 2026. And Jeff and I were talking pre-show, and one thing that's been an issue for not just Carbondale, but all these teams in Northeast Pennsylvania has been the weather. How has the weather impacted not just you, but I mean the girls and practices and so forth?
I don't know that it really has impacted the girls too much. We can't get outside. We practice inside. We do have some light practices, have some fun, let them do some team bonding. Always nice to be on the field, though. And, I mean, when we've come out, our game up in Mountain View, I think, was freezing cold, but we came out with 22 hits, 22 runs. So, yeah, the cold doesn't bother them. They battle every inning. So I don't think it's affected us quite that much.
Want to thank our sponsors for being here with us, Tasty Freeze and Andy's Pizza. Jeff, first season as the head coach for the Chargerettes. What, in your opinion, last year's team compared to this year's team, what is the difference between these two squads, especially now that you're overseeing the program?
I can't speak a lot about what occurred last year, what happened last year.
Sure.
Obviously, had a decent coach, and I think the numbers were just a little low, but they had some good talent, and the girls really proved what they could do last year. Some great seniors that I had coached in the past. They all had good seasons. Alyssa Lewis, probably a standout pitcher from last year. But it's tough when you don't have a little bit of depth on the bench. So I think that may have affected them a little more last year. Coming into this year, we had a really strong group of freshmen that came in. We had some returning girls that did track last year. So we had Amethyst, Kealoha Silva, who came back, really great center fielder. Three seniors that really know their place and are really true leaders. So we got a really good squad, came on with enough to field a JV team, which I think helped because there was extra games, extra reps. That really helped us, and is going to continue to be that way.
Now, are some schools in Northeast like how many schools? And again, I could just be wrong. Are actually able to have a JV team? Because it seems like kids getting involved in athletics is getting more difficult and difficult.
Absolutely, we had to have our AD really do some work, and we're playing teams obviously that are out of our conference, but that's okay. We had some on the books for Valley View, Mid Valley, obviously some powerhouse teams, but there's enough out there that we're able to put together, 6 to 10 games on the books, and hopefully, again, no more rain, we can still get some of those in, because they are important reps for the girls that are not starting right now, but we're gonna need to start next year.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, the Chargerettes right now have a record of 10-4. First year, Jeff, for you coaching. Can you tell us about the process of how you were able to get the job as the Chargerettes head coach?
Just the normal way you get a job. Applied like everybody else. There was an opening. I do have a pretty good background in softball, so I've probably been doing this about 15, 20 years or so through the rec ball and travel ball. Also umpire for NEPUA when I have time at the rec level. So all those things together, and the support of the girls, parents, and the administration at the school, it all just kind of came together with the right ideas and the right attitude to build a program instead of just fill a position.
Now going into that, because again, high school, especially public school jobs, they're very difficult, and it's not easy to get that position and so forth. Going into it, was the interview process a difficult process, or was it very, I don't want to say easier, but were you very confident going into it?
I was pretty confident going into it. I mean, any of the questions that they were going to ask, I have answers for. When you do this long enough, you kind of know where you have to go and where you have to start. Understanding where we were going to be and what was upcoming maybe made it a little bit easier for me to answer some of the questions. I can't say they were easy. There were board members in the interviews as well. So a lot of really good questions, a lot of tough questions. But in the end, they thought that I could build what they needed. And actually, one of the other candidates actually came on staff with us as well. So it was great.
That's really good, and especially trying to build up something, build a good foundation. Like you said, the JV program, young team, varsity team, obviously having a good season. How is the youth feeder programs for Carbondale for you guys?
Well, it's pretty good. It's I'm actually the president for our
good
rec league. So keeping that together, it's been a struggle, especially since COVID. The numbers really aren't rebounding. I think we see that across the Valley Petunia League.
Oh yeah.
But still, we're able to field enough teams. We have a great facility up in Fell Township. Pretty much a brand new facility that's, if you haven't been there, it's beautiful. But now having a direct tie with the high school, knowing what we want and being able to tell our rec coaches, here's what we need, especially pitchers, catchers, that's going to be a focus for our rec league. So it's been pretty good.
And you brought up you're the president of the league, and I mean, that is not easy by all means, and you need to have a good support staff. How have the other parents and other volunteers impacted your job as the president?
Honestly, I can say that's a title only. We have 11 people on our board, many coaches across the teams that we have, and quite honestly, couldn't do it without any one of them. I would name off every single one of them if we had the time.
Sure.
Obviously, I have to give some kudos to Jerry Arnice, one of the longest probably board members we've had. Does a great job. Gary Lewis, Adam Lotney, always having our fields ready, always having our food stand have the best food. They do a great job with everything. I hate leaving anybody out, but if I had to name a couple, Maureen Katowski, huge with fundraising for the rec league.
That's great stuff. And I mean, you also brought up that you umpire once in a while.
Yeah.
That's a big, you know, I don't want to say it's a problem, but I mean, that's a big topic in sports is the lack of officiating now where they're struggling to find it. How has it been with Carbondale? And I mean, just, you know, situations that you've been in with coaching or, you know, whatever it is, just officiating. It's not easy.
No, but I do tend to try to stay at the lower levels, um, not because of ability. It's just 10U, 10U, 12U is a place I like to umpire. You get a lot of new coaches, and so it gives you the opportunity to really kind of help them understand the rules, which are a little bit different than high school. Obviously, they play under USA softball rules, but you get a lot of new coaches coming up, and they often don't understand, and so you kind of have to have a cool head and just
Yeah.
explain the rules as you go, and you get a little more explaining. You do get a lot of grief. Don't get me wrong, but if you handle it the right way, normally everybody's okay.
Now, personal preference, do you like to be behind the plate? Are you a base guy? What do you enjoy more?
I like to be behind the plate. I like to be back there, but I don't. I get limited time to be out on the bases because there's not a lot of two-man systems,
Sure.
with the rec leagues. But when I have an opportunity and I can get there, I like to do that as well.
So Jeff is involved a lot with the youth program as well as the high school coach for Carbondale. Jeff, right now, again, still talking about, you know, youth leagues and so forth. Does some of the teams and, you know, organizations at Carbondale, you know, get to go against, I'm sure, bring some heavy competition as well. How do you as as the coaches and volunteers, how do you guys adjust in trying to get these girls better and better and better?
For the rec league, it's kind of tough. We don't do a draft that stacks one team. If the players are with the coach, we let them remain with the coach, and then any new
Yeah.
girls coming in, it's a pick one, pick one, pick one, back and forth. So we try not to do that, but at the same time, we try to pride ourselves on being very good defensive teams. Again, developing pitchers and catchers, and just letting the coaches know that there are senior people that are willing to go out and help. Just this year, we had a former board member and his daughter who played come back to coach our 8U team. So it's that kind of community, coming together to get them all prepped because you're up against Mid Valley has a new squad down there. They've got three tough teams at multiple age levels. So being involved, I think you take a page out of Coach Piercy's playbook and be involved with the rec leagues, get directly involved in understanding what we need, so that they can understand fundamentals, mechanics first, and then developing them further as they get older.
Carbondale again. I know I keep bringing this up, but this is so exciting for Carbondale because again, this program is doing so well. They're young, they're upcoming. They have a record of 10-4, and it's a busy week. Jeff was saying pre-show. Can you tell us about the week upcoming for you and the Chargerettes?
Upcoming week is going to be difficult. We're going to face Elk Lake. That was a really good game. We came out a little too late in our last outing. Same with Montrose. So we have two games in a row that are going to challenge us. I think pretty much the way we've changed our game plan from beginning of season, understanding the players better and really honing our batting lineup, should benefit us. We have a solid defense, solid pitching, all around. We're ready for the challenge. We also have Blue Ridge, so that was another close game. So everything we have coming up are challenging games to finish out our regular season. But the girls are confident; they go into every game confident, and we started to get our offense started a little bit earlier than we were earlier in the year.
Now, obviously, we can go over the positives all day. We can keep stressing how good the season has been for Carbondale. In your opinion, as a coach, what are some things that the Chargerettes still need to work on to improve to make that next step in this season?
Sure, I think when we're faced with a situation where we're down, just keeping positive. We've worked on that a ton, working on and getting the girls to understand that their mental game is going to keep them in or put them out of the game, and that's really been our focus. Really is when we're challenged, let's rise to the challenge and let's answer. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. When it doesn't, it's there's no yelling, there's no it's just next practice. What did we do in that game that we would like to get better at? that's what we focus on the next practice. So it's let that go, and we turn the page and we move on and learn from the mistakes. So everybody will tell you if softball is a game of failure. As long as you learn from it, we move forward. And the girls have responded great to that. And they're positive. Coaching's been positive. I honestly can tell you I don't coach by myself. It's definitely a unit that coaches together. We all see different things. We work on different things. And everybody brings a different perspective. I think the girls have responded to in a great way this year.
The team has been playing pretty well. Like I said, 10-4. First year as the head coach for you, Jeff. What were your expectations going into this, though? I mean, were you feeling confident? Were you like, oh, this could be a rebuild year? I mean, if you thought rebuild year, you're definitely exceeding expectations.
I have to say the thought did creep into my head. This might be a rebuilding year. Quite honestly, the girls kind of really, I don't want to say they surprised me. I knew that the talent was there. It was going to be how well were they going to gel with, some of the girls that were there, with some incoming really strong freshmen, understanding that, they may have to, somebody may have to sit out and somebody may be in. And I don't believe that, just because you're a senior, you get to start. Everybody earns their spot. We went over that with the team, with the parents. Everybody's responded to it well. We've been able to get girls in. So it's worked out pretty well in our favor. But I think going into it at first, the thought was it's a rebuilding year. But as the girls responded, the thought was, yeah, we're probably going to be better than 500 and definitely can make a run in the playoffs.
When did Carbondale make the announcement that you were taking over the team, Jeff?
I don't remember the exact date, but it was in January, which put us a little bit behind the 8 ball for some conditioning. But we were able to catch up. We'd have some lengthy practices, and with enough coaching, we were able to do that. Early on, we didn't have a junior high coach, so we had 3 squads of girls. We were trying to, get ready, some tough conditioning, some, and some girls understanding this is how we were going to be running the program.
Well, that answered my question, because I was wondering if you said January, but how was the off season like for the girls? Were you guys able to get going in the fall or even in the winter and so forth? But like you said, you started in January. So definitely not a lot of time, because season begins in what, March?
Season begins in March.
So again, 2 months, less than 2 months, honestly, to get everything rocking and rolling. How did the girls, come together and be able to pull this off so quick, just besides, the conditioning and so forth?
I think a lot of it really comes down to some of the leadership. Maureen Newcomb, true leader, multi-sport athlete, understands what the role is, really was a big help in, bringing the girls together. So we had the freshman squad coming in. I had coached in rec and or travel. So they already knew how things went. A couple of the girls that are, juniors and sophomores, coached them. And all 3 of the seniors at some point, I had coached. So they all already knew me. So when we got to work, it was a little bit of a, some tough practices, longer practices, multiple times, obviously every day, every week. But without that leadership and the girls figuring their own way out to how they were going to gel and do some team bonding. Some of that was, some just goofy, fun practice drills, to keep them light and not so serious, and understand, this is a game and I want them to have fun at the end of the day.
It's all about having fun. And I mean, a lot of the girls, they're very competitive and so forth. How do you feel high school students and athletes do a good job on balancing, staying competitive, but yet having fun?
I would love to get
That's
inside their head. I can tell you, almost probably more than half, maybe 3/4 of our team are all honor students. And I pride myself on that. And it's not me. Parents and teachers are to thank there, but it does show their work ethic in the classroom to have that many. And they really do excel at academics. So I think with their own work ethic and that understanding, again, some of them are multi-sport athletes, so they've been doing this, coming off of basketball and soccer, They already had the mentality of, I have work to do for school. I have work to do for this, for whichever sport. For me, it was softball.
Yeah.
So it really kind of made an easy transition as they came off of that. I do stress academics. So like I tell the girls, I don't care if it's a science fair, if it has something to do with school and it's a school function, you're to attend that. And my practice takes second, academics first. So I think with that and the understanding that they knew they wouldn't have to sacrifice their academics for a sport, really put them at ease. That's my opinion.
Big games coming up for Carbondale. You know, like we were saying, Elk Lake is this week. He said a big game against Blue Ridge. We're getting closer to playoffs, Jeff. Have the girls started talking about that yet?
Oh yeah, they're pumped. Every game, they get louder and louder. I think the game at Montrose might have been the loudest. We had a late comeback. I mean, it just fell a little bit short, but the energy coming out of that game, positive smiles, ready to hit the next one. That's how I want them to approach every game, and that's really what gives us, the get up and go for the next game. Came right off of that, straight into the next game. Against I believe Forest City, and had a really good showing there. So they just feed off of every single bit of energy that they get, and they try to keep that momentum going into the next thing. So we were just talking about playoffs, ironically, at the last practice, and they're pumped. They want to go as far as they can go.
And District 2, by all means, is very competitive in softball. Who are some teams that you guys might run into in those playoffs?
It's looking like potentially Lakeland, Riverside, and hopefully we can rally past either of those teams, whoever we end up facing. Possibly Lake Lehman, and then ultimately, it's Mid Valley. You want to do something in District 2, you got to do something in Mid Valley.
Playoffs will be starting soon. So Carbondale, again, record of 10-4. Big season so far for them, and they also have a big schedule, big week coming up for them. So, Jeff, we have a couple minutes left here on the show. It's your first year coaching with the high school team. What were some goals that I know you said you were worried that was a possible rebuild year, but what were some goals you had? Were there any games you definitely wanted to win, like on the schedule as like a confidence booster, so forth? What were some you had?
Yeah, definitely. Going into it, there were some games on the schedule that looked tough on paper early on, right?
Yeah.
Getting Dunmore, as one of our first games was tough. Going into it, I think it could have been anybody's game. Ultimately, Dunmore, got that one, and then 2 weeks later, and we didn't even have a game on. We didn't even touch the field. We weren't able to get outside before Dunmore.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, we're at Mid Valley. So 2 tough games early in the season. I think it really showed the girls, what they need to do and how much they need to work. That if we face them later on, they can learn from it and they can adjust and they understand what's going to be happening at the next level. Some of the other teams, Elk Lake always has a good team. It seems they're usually top of that division. We didn't really show that well, I don't think, in our first time out, and I think we'll show a little better this game coming up this week. Other teams, I had hoped that we can get through and handle ourselves pretty well, and I was really, really, wonderfully surprised, and the girls did meet expectations. Goals going into it was have a winning season, do well in playoffs. That was our goal. The girls also had some individual goals. That was something we talked about this year. Is individually what did they want to get out of the season? Because I think it's important to understand where they are and where their heads are, heading into a new season with the new coach.
Now, who are some of the players that you feel have really exceeded expectations?
Coming into this, again, like I knew most of the girls, so some of them I had a little bit higher expectations for, especially coming off of a travel ball season in the fall. So the expectations were already for me pretty high for some unexpected success that shouldn't have been a surprise, really. Abby Crotchlow, really in the middle of the order and, going out and starting at second base. Just, I can't say enough about her. She really has pumped our middle of the lineup. freshman Alexis Borowski. Coming into a high school season as a freshman, you're not always sure how someone's going to handle that. She's handled herself pretty well. Starting shortstop, our backup pitcher, really, really doing well. I think our freshmen, really shined. My daughter Bella Kelsch, she's our catcher. In the leadoff spot, she's produced. Riley Petrosky, seasoned senior, hurling from the mound, really just giving it her all. Rory Escrow, just taking over center field, along with Amethyst in left. They're really handling the outfield. Our defense has been pretty solid. Olivia Ellinger over at 3. She's really kind of holding her own there, kind of learning a new position, but she's stepped up. So that's right around the infield. But I can't leave out Maureen Newcomb. She just goes anywhere, and she's a true athlete, true leader. Anywhere I need her, I can plug and play. And she performs. She keeps the team upbeat. I don't need to call timeout all the time because she's taking care of that. And to have a kid like that with that leadership on the field all the time, you just can't replace that. It's tough to teach.
And you brought up, you're going to be coaching travel ball again. What is that all summer long? When does that start?
It starts immediately after school ball. So June, then we play our summer season until the end of August or beginning of August. Then we usually go into a fall, switch over into fall, and that goes into winter and then straight into winter practice.
So how far have you guys traveled during your time coaching travel ball?
Gosh, I have to go back to my oldest daughter. We've been to Ocean City, Maryland. Last year, I think it was last year, we went down. We did a tournament in Seaside Heights. We don't go too far. I'd say 3 to 4 hours is our max.
Yeah.
We don't always want to see local teams. We want to see
Yeah.
some other teams from outside the area. So yeah, about 3 to 4 hours is usually the max. All Horseheads in New York, that area.
And, travel softball is so competitive. And you're like you brought up, you're not just seeing local competition, you're seeing competition from all over. What impact do you think that has on the kids playing not just local talent, but talent that you're not going to see in high school softball?
I think it's really good because they don't know what they're up against. And to me, that's been some of the best games we've had is when we don't know the team, they don't know us, and we can, maybe cause a little chaos. Maybe, you start with a small game, small ball, and let them swing away, or you let them swing away and then mix that in if you need to. But their mentality going into a game against a team we know is, oh, this girl's up, that girl's up, this girl's pitching, that girl's pitching, etc. When they don't know them, they have no expectations. So I think they go into mentally like we can win this game, and they don't defeat themselves right away, out of the gate.
So travel softball will be starting right after high school softball. And again, ladies and gentlemen, Carbondale right now has a record of 10 wins and 4 defeats. Jeff, if people want to find out more information about Carbondale softball, what's the best way they can do that?
Are we talking about rec or the school ball?
I'm sorry, the high school. I'm sorry.
Sure. If you want to find out more information, obviously you can contact me, or Larry Gabriel, our athletic director. We do put it out pretty early for girls to sign up. We had a great sign up this year. We had some parent meetings, player meetings early on to explain what we're going to do. I think the numbers that came out were very positive for us. That actually exceeded expectations as well, to be able to have enough to have a varsity, a JV, and a full squad for junior high.
And as a coach, what are some goals that you have?
So this year, letting the team understand where we are, what our philosophy is, how we coach, and what we expect from them. So that was this year. Going into next year, probably a few girls coming on, moving up from junior high. Next year, looking to do better than this year. I think that's always going to be the goal, is let's try to do better. What do we need to do? What are the things we saw in the past that worked? I'm constantly a student of the game, so I watch what other coaches do. I try to watch their video. Obviously, watch a ton of NCAA. Along with my girls, we love it. So you pick up what you can where you can, and
Yep.
then try to incorporate it into your program. I mean, years ago, I remember watching the hop. I believe it was Auburn or Alabama. One of those were teaching, the Auburn hop or Alabama hop, whichever it was. And we tried that. We tried that at the rec level, and the girls thought it was hysterical, but they didn't realize how much they were getting out of it. So, going into next year, I think it's do better than this year. Build on what we've learned. Develop the girls that are going to be coming in, which was what our plan was with the JV team. And I think that's working pretty well, and the girls have responded pretty well to it.
Now, Jeff, every coach is different and so forth, whether it's philosophy, game plan, whatever it may be. Has there been a coach, and it doesn't have to be softball, that has impacted you and helped you become the person you are today?
Honestly, that would go all the way back to my days playing Little League. Played Little League softball for Carbondale Little League. It was great back then because you wore the same uniforms as the pros, and so it was pretty cool to be on a team. But I had two coaches back then. I'd say around B-ball going into A-ball, who really, there was never any crazy yelling. They weren't screaming at you. They really just took their time. They were patient, taught you the game. I was maybe 90 pounds soaking wet, probably the smallest catcher in the league. But they taught me well. They taught all of us well to be able to have two positions and to have fun during the game. Don't take everything so seriously. And that's just stayed with me since back then.
And Jeff, my final question for you today is, do you have any advice for someone wanting to get into coaching, not just softball, any sport?
Biggest advice, I would start at the rec level, get involved, know the rules, get a rule book, read the rule book, and understand what you're saying when you're saying it, and when it's okay to approach an umpire and do it in the right way. Be positive with the girls, let them learn at their own pace, and keep the game fun. If you keep the game fun, you keep practices fun, the girls will keep coming back, and hopefully, that word spreads and we get more girls.
Well, Jeff, I want to thank you again for being on with us today. It's great that what you're doing for the area, and you're really building something good up at Carbondale. So, as an NEPA, softball fan, thank you for what you're doing.
Thanks. I appreciate it. It's great to be here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we had Carbondale's head coach, Jeff Kelsch, here on the show. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Follow us on Facebook, Agape Freedom Sports. Have a great day, everyone.
Cougars Cora Castellani hits a double. Abby Call crushes one deep to left. That ball is gone. Home run, Valley View 2. Narrow Haley Carbonetti wins. Fire. Strike free. That's her weight. Strike out of the game. Ava Hazelton dealing today. Another ground out. She's done it. A no-hitter. Holy Cross Irish make it 10 strikeout. Win league championship over Mid-Valley. Lakeland's Cameron and near hit steal second. She's safe. Abington's Adriana Conrad rounds the bases after a home run. Wow. What a hit. And Kate Reynolds rips one into the gap. She's flying around second, heading for third. Triple for Riverside. Cross the diamonds of North Fifth and Pennsylvania, where Riveries run deep, where championship dreams are built, and the next generation of softball stars rise. This is where the stories are told. From walk-off wins to dominant pitchers, to the players rewriting the record books. From Division I battles with Valley View, Abington Heights, and North Pocono, to Division II powerhouses like Holy Cross and Mid-Valley, to the Division III contenders fighting every inning, Elk Lake, Blue Ridge, Montrose, and beyond. This is the show that brings the energy, the highlights, and the woods of the game. Hosted by Jarek Yurkanin. Quick Paul, powered by Aga Freedom Perita.